Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be playing with a whole bunch of brand new makeup from the drugstore. If you saw my video on Friday, I basically hauled a whole bunch of new crap that just launched from Maybelline and NYX and Milani and Physicians Formula, and I wanted to show you guys how all these products performed on my face in a tutorial. So if you want to see the swatches of everything, you can check out last week's video. But today we're just gonna play, we're gonna create a look. This is what I came up with. So if you want to see how I got this look, then just keep on watching. Alright, so we're gonna get started by priming our face. I'm gonna be using the new Milani Prime Light Face Primer. This is supposed to be strobing and pore minimizing, which is weird because most strobing primers tend to be moisturizing and not pore minimizing. So we'll see how this looks in the face. This was very sheer when I swatched it on my hands in Friday's video. So we'll see how it looks on the face. Feels really hydrating actually. It doesn't feel silicone-y like the Smashbox Photo Finish primer is like a really pore minimizing, but really silicone based primer. This feels much more lotiony than that. So I feel like the primer made my skin look very dewy and really glowy, but it doesn't have like any flecks of shimmer in it or anything like that. So I'm curious to see whether or not this effect kind of shows through when we apply the foundation on top of it. So the foundation we're going to be using today is the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation. I have the shade Natural. So this is supposed to be somewhat like, I think, the Cover FX Custom Cover Drops, except it's not meant to be mixed in with anything necessarily. It's a really watery foundation. Like if I was to turn my hand, it's gonna like run everywhere. So I'm thinking that a sponge is going to soak up too much of the product, so I'm going to use a brush to apply this. This is the IT Cosmetics Radiant Foundation brush. And we're just going to blend this in and see how it goes. Now I've never tried like Tarte's Rainforest of the Sea foundation or Stila, I think it's the Aqua Glow foundation, and I feel like this product probably would be similar to those from what I've seen of them, but I've never tried them for myself, so I can't say it for sure. Now, I feel like this looks like a very natural finish foundation on the skin. Like it's not super full coverage. It is sort of like evening out my skin tone, but if you have any major imperfections, I think you're definitely gonna need to conceal over them. So out of curiosity, I'm gonna see if I can bank up the coverage. I'm gonna put a few more drops on the back of my hand, and I'm just gonna kind of pat the product into the areas where I usually need a little more coverage and see if it layers up okay. So my first impressions on this foundation is that it does have actually a really nice finish on the skin. It's very light foundation. So if you do have a lot of texture on your skin, it's not necessarily going to hide that, but the finish is very natural. It's not too matte, it's not too dewy, and I do think that some of the glow from the primer does come through this foundation, especially because it's not super thick and full coverage. It doesn't feel tacky or greasy or anything like that on my skin. I think it's gonna set down well, hopefully, once it has a little bit of time to dry. Hopefully it doesn't oxidize, so that's another thing we will keep an eye out for. So moving on to some concealer, I did not pick up any new concealer in my most recent drugstore haul, but this concealer from e.l.f. is the newest concealer that I have purchased from the drugstore, and I don't think I've tried it out for you guys on camera yet, so I figured that's what we'll use today. Now I have a few blemish spots that are healing because being a girl sucks balls, and I got like really bad breakouts the last time I had a period. I don't know what was up with that. So I'm just going to blend this in gently, cover up those spots. Now I have this concealer in the shade Light, and I do not think this is a light concealer by any means. I feel like this definitely oxidizes quite a bit, and it is pretty dark. Like, I feel like I can see this sticking out, but maybe, oh god, there may be some issues. It's like not really blending into the foundation color well at all. Like this looks way darker than my foundation, which normally is not so good. Like on my face, I want my concealer to blend in perfectly with my makeup, and maybe under the eyes, I want it to be a little bit lighter to brighten. So I feel like I'm not so sure how I feel about this e.l.f. concealer. If you are fair-skinned, light, it is not light. So for the sake of not ruining my makeup, for concealing under my under eyes, I'm just going to reach for my Maybelline Master Concealer because this is like one of my favorites from the drugstore. So hopefully this will work a little bit better than that e.l.f. concealer for doing it under my eyes. Now to set my under eyes, I'm going to use this e.l.f. HD Under Eye Setting Powder. This again was something I picked up during my e.l.f. haul. So I got it a little while ago, but I don't think I've ever used it on camera. So we're just going to dust a little bit of this under the under eyes just to set that concealer in place. So I definitely feel like that locked my makeup down, but I do feel like it is accentuating the lines under my eyes just a little bit. So let's add some color back into this face because I feel like a ghost right now. I think I'm going to start off by contouring with this new palette from Physicians Formula. This is their Bronze Booster, I think it's their contouring, let's say it says Matte Sculpting Highlight and Contour Palette. So this is the matte version. There was a shimmering version as well. So for contour, my favorite contouring brush is kind of expensive. It's the Bold Metals contour brush from Real Techniques. So we're gonna go into this middle shade here, which is sort of a cool toned ashy brown, which is truly the best shade to contour with. But this is not for like all over your face, like bronzing and adding warmth. This is just to mimic the shadows of like your cheekbones and make them look more sculpted. So we're gonna go in right underneath the cheekbone, like from basically the top of my ear and blend down. And I like to feather the color up so it doesn't make this part of my jaw look muddy. I think this is blending pretty well. It is a very pigmented powder. Hopefully it will be long wearing and will last well. It's maybe a little patchy. I don't know if that's the foundation or the contour powder that's looking a little patchy over here on the side. Alright, so I'm going to bronze up around the perimeter of my face using this bronzer shade, which looks pretty pigmented, so I'm going to use a big fluffy brush to do that, and I'm just going to tap this like that's pretty intense. So I'm going to dust off a lot of the excess before I go in and apply this to my face. Yeah, this bronzer is not for, like, if you're super fair, you need to use a real light hand with this bronzer, otherwise you're going to end up looking a little too warm. So I feel like overall, it did a pretty decent job. Even though it was matte, I don't know, I feel like the contour shade might be a little patchy on my cheekbones. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I definitely am going to have to play around with this a little bit more. So for blush, I'm going to be using this Physicians Formula Butter Blush in the shade Natural Glow, which I love the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. It's an amazing, amazing product, and this smells equally delicious. Now, what I am worried about with this is that it is super light. Like, I'm not sure if this is even going to really show up on my skin. So we're going to grab a little angled brush here, and we're going to see what happens. I feel like even with the brush, like, I'm not picking up anything. I don't know. Alright, so this is definitely giving my cheeks a lot of glow, like super glowy. This would be a really great blush topper, I think, or a highlighter, but I don't really feel like it has enough oomph to wear as a blush on its own. Fortunately, I do have something else. This is from Milani. This is their Spotlight Face and Eye Strobing Palette, which does have a blush shade in it up here in the corner. So let's see if we dip our brush into that blush shade, if we can get a little more color on these cheeks. There we go. Now this definitely has more pigmentation, but is also glowy. I feel like my cheeks right now are gonna be super glowy. Now, if I wasn't beaming enough already, why don't we just go big or go home and add some of this highlight shade as like an all over face highlight. Gonna grab my e.l.f. small tapered brush. We're just gonna take this on the tops of the cheekbones. Oh, hello. Yeah, this is like super glowy. Holy crow. Now, this is a really beautiful highlight, but I will say that all of these glowy products will accentuate any kind of texture you have on your skin. So if your skin is super flawless, it will look lovely on you, but if you have breakouts or any kind of texture, it is going to accentuate that. So just a thing to keep in mind. So I did not buy a new brow product in my most recent haul. There is one I really want to try from L'Oreal that I think is going to be a good dupe for the dip brow, but I don't have my hands on it yet. So we're going to use something newish from the drugstore in terms of brows that I have. This is the e.l.f. brow pencil in the shade Natural. So we're just gonna go in, fill in our brows quick. All right, so let's play with some eyeshadow. Just to prep, I'm gonna go in with my NYX eyeshadow base. This is basically like my favorite primer from the drugstore. I use it all the time. So we're just gonna slap some of this on before we put on the eyeshadow. So for our eyes today, we're gonna be using the new Maybelline 24 Karat Nudes palette, which I did a full review on my blog if you want to check out swatches of the whole palette and kind of hear my full thoughts on it. Basically, I like this palette. I don't think it's like the best eyeshadow palette I've ever used in my entire life, but I do like the color selection and I think they did a really good job, especially with the matte shades. So I'm going to start out by going in with this nice creamy neutral shade and a big fluffy brush just to set down the primer. Now there's no like real transition shade in this palette that's matte. There's a couple of nice like dark matte shades for like lining, but nothing matte that's a mid-tone brown. So we're gonna just go in with this shimmery brown and we're gonna hope for the best. I'm using a fluffy crease brush and I'm just going to windshield wiper motion blend this gently into the crease of my eye. If things get too intense, you can always go back in with that matte shade you used to set and just kind of buff everything out. That will tone it down for you a little bit. Now I'm really drawn to this shade right here, which is sort of like a taupey metallic, and I think I'm going to just use my finger to apply this all over the lid because I think that will help to really pack on the color. Curious to see how this applied over like some of my glitter glue. I think that would really help to intensify this a little bit because I'm kind of wanting more color payoff than I'm getting from this shade. It's nice, but like I want more oomph, you know? So I think to deepen things up in the outer corner, I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. I'm just gonna tap this on this fluffy brush, just get a tiny little bit, and we're just gonna concentrate this right on the outer corner of the eye. This will just add a little more depth and dimension. I'm gonna grab a small flat brush. I'm gonna go in with this white pearlescent shade here, and I'm just gonna put this onto the inner corners of the eye for a little bit of a highlight. And then I think I want to tie everything together by going in with a small pencil brush into that brown shade we use in the crease. And I'm just gonna take this on the under eye, smudge this into the lash line just to kind of pull that together. And then in the very outer corners, I'm gonna go in with that dark brown matte shade and I'm just going to feather that lightly right into like the outer third of the eye on the bottom. I totally forgot. I have another brow product to share with you guys. And actually, this is not a bad time to clean up my brows and highlight them because my eyeshadow is done. This is the Maybelline Brow Precise Illuminating Highlighter, or Perfecting Highlighter, I should say. I was reading the French side. So this is basically a creamy highlighting stick. I don't know what the heck is going on outside, but someone needs to change their brakes. So basically, we're just gonna take this underneath the brow to clean up and highlight that area and make it look nice and sharp and precise. And I'm just gonna blend it with my fingers. Then I can go back in with my brush just to make sure that the line between the brow pencil and the eyeshadow is perfectly seamless. So I do feel like this glides on, it's really creamy. The pigmentation I think could be a little bit better, but it's not bad. It's nice that it's very easy to blend. You can just kind of pat it in and it melts right into the skin, so I really like that. So we're almost done. I have a really fun eyeliner to show you guys. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Paints eyeliner. It is a white liquid eyeliner, which I thought was really cool. So I think what we're gonna do today is do a double liner look, which I think is a really neat trick to your eyeshadow. So we're gonna use a black liner first, and then we're gonna double line with the white. So for the black liner, I'm using the Maybelline Master Precise eyeliner, which is a very similar felt tip. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna create my little cat eye flick. And then I'm going to create the rest of my line. All right, so once our black liner is on, we're gonna give that a second to completely dry, and then we're gonna go in and line with the white. So I think I'm gonna take this right on top of the other existing black liner, and I'm just gonna kind of trace that line. And if you screw it up, don't worry, because you can always go back in with the black and clean it up if you go over the edge a little bit. So the one downside I do notice right away is that when you're dragging the white eyeliner over your eyeshadow, it's gonna pick it up, so it's not gonna be quite as pure and white as you would like it to be. So hopefully maybe once more product starts coming out, we kind of can layer it up, but it looks a little gray right now. So I feel like this is one of those things that's cool in theory, but in practicality, it doesn't work out quite as well as I had hoped, only because I just feel like the white liner looked pigmented when I drew it across my hand with nothing underneath it, but when you have shadows and things you're layering, it just kind of muddies things up. So I feel like maybe I'd like to try this on a naked eye, do more of a bare eye with a really bold liner kind of look, and mascara and lashes, something like that. That might be really cool. I'll have to experiment and see, but with regular eyeshadow looks like this one, I think this product is especially at least the white version, is a little bit difficult to work with. And to finish the eyes off, I'm gonna be going in with this new launch from Maybelline. This is the Big Shot Colossal Volume Express Mascara. So this is kind of a cool wand. It has a pointed tips you can really get into those little inner corner lashes. This is supposed to be really good for building intense volume. So this is definitely a drier formula than the Lash Sensational, which is sort of my favorite Maybelline mascara. So my initial thoughts are that this mascara is not bad, but it's definitely not quite as volumizing at the root as I would like. It does a good job of separating and creating definition, which I appreciate. Some volumizing mascaras leave you with 3 spider lashes, and I don't really like that. But I feel like the effect of this mascara still looks relatively natural for a volumizing formula. Also, it's quite a bit drier and a little bit stickier on the lashes. So from right out the get-go, it feels the way that some mascaras I feel after a couple of months of using them and they've dried out a little bit. I don't hate it though. I don't think that it looks bad. It just might not be my absolute favorite formula ever. And to finish off our look, we're gonna do some lips. These are new lipsticks from Maybelline. This is the shade Almond Rose, which is part of their new Intimate Matte Nudes collection. This is what the shade looks like. It's a really pretty sort of peachy nude color, as the whole line is a shade of warm matte nude lipsticks in a variety of light to dark tones. Really, really pretty. So for a matte lipstick, these are really creamy. They feel quite thick on the lips. It's a pretty heavy formula, but I like that it's not drying. It's really comfortable. And it does seem to have a lot of pigmentation, quite a bit. So I think this is a really pretty everyday shade. I feel like it does feel a little bit heavy on my lips. I feel like I kind of want to blot it off, there's a lot of product on there. But it is nice. I mean, it does, I feel accentuate the lines on my lips a little bit. I don't know. So I do generally really like Maybelline lipstick formulas. They definitely are really great for the price. We'll see how long wearing this is and if it dries down or if it's gonna stay creamy the way that this one is. And here is our completed look. So I feel super glowy right now. I feel like that blush was all glow, no color. So now my cheeks, between the Milani blush and the Physicians formula, I'm all glowing up in here, and I got glow in my eyes. I'm just feel very shiny right now, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but if you like more of a matte look, some of these products might not be for you. I will say I do really like the way that the foundation is wearing. I don't feel like it's oxidized on me. I don't feel like I'm like 18 shades darker than I was before, which is great. That e.l.f. concealer though, that was definitely way too dark for me. So I know there is like, I think a fair shade, maybe that would be better, but I can imagine on my skin, if fair is good for me, someone who is a very true fair or porcelain skin tone would not be able to wear any of those e.l.f. concealers at all. Kind of bummed about the eyeliner and that it looked so gray. I was really hoping that it would show up as like a really intense white, but maybe I just need to like play around with it a little bit more. Hopefully I didn't ruin it by using it with the black liner. I guess we'll see. So thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial, seeing my first impressions of these products with me. If you have any questions, definitely post them for me in the comments down below. I always really love to hear from you guys. And if you enjoy these types of videos, make sure you give this one a thumbs up. I really appreciate your support. And if you're new to my channel, make sure you click that subscribe button before you go. I post new videos every Monday and Friday. So thank you guys so much again for coming and hanging out and playing with makeup with me. And I hope you have an awesome week, and I will see you in Friday's video. Bye.